scene, pretending like I know the plot. It was really fun, and one of the movies actually in that video was Jurassic Park, which I watched for the first time this year, and I was a little bit annoying afterwards. I didn't tell everyone, but on at least 2 occasions, people were like, "How have you been? What have you been up to?" And I was like, "Yo, I just watched Jurassic Park and it's like really good." And they were like, "Yeah, yeah, So now I actually know what happens in Jurassic Park. Okay, caveat 2 is this was a weird movie watching year for me. I watched a fair amount of movies, but not like a lot of new releases, not a lot of the big artsy ones I really wanted to get to. So I'm gonna talk about 4 movies from this year that I really enjoyed. More complete reviews of those are on Patreon. And then I'm going to talk about 4 movies which are older, but which I saw for the first time this year. Not Jurassic Park, although Jurassic Park is excellent. These are movies mostly from the 70s. Classics, really, but I just hadn't seen them before, and on the off chance that you, like me, are young enough that you didn't catch them the first time around, or are so young maybe you've never even heard of them, or you want a reminder to rewatch them, or you're older but just never got around to it, I'm going to tell you about some oldies but goodies, okay, that I saw for the first time this year. So that's what we're up to tonight. Okay. What is she doing? The first movie I'm going to mention tonight is called Knee Kneecap. This is like a docudrama. It's not a documentary, but it's based on real events, but it's, fictionalized or tidied and exaggerated somewhat, about a rap trio in Ireland. They rap in Irish, which is really cool. This group really exists, and they rap in their native Irish, and so the movie is a bit about that, a bit about the state of the Irish language in Ireland, trying to infuse it with life again, bring it into the culture, make art with it, make like cultural output, cultural gifts with it, such as these songs by these rap artists. So just in terms of how it also saw very, very, very early in the year, The Brutalist. I feel like I don't need to spend much time on this one. You've probably heard of it. It got a bunch of awards early last year. It's with Adrian Brody, who I love. And it's about a Hungarian architect who comes to the States as an immigrant and tries to make a life for himself. There's a very complicated relationship in it between him and his eventual employer, which I thought was really brilliantly, beautifully, and devastatingly done. And it's just a really well-acted, well-made movie of pretty epic scale and scope. It's very long, and it's excellent. Okay, I also saw this year a movie called Daughters. This is a documentary about men who are incarcerated in or just outside of Washington, D.C. for some very serious crimes, very violent crimes, who are given the opportunity to host a daddy-daughter dance for their daughters. Their daughters range in age. They could be anywhere from like 4 years old to 18 years old. All different ages. And actually this program proposes the daddy-daughter dance because the girls of these men who are incarcerated want there to be a daddy-daughter dance. They want quality time with their fathers. They crave quality time with their fathers and the love and attention of their fathers who have been absent for large parts of their lives. And then the fathers agreed to participate. And they are excited about it as well. They anticipate it. Like there's this anticipatory energy before it for both sides, the daughters and the dads. But the dads have some nervousness as well about how to show up best for their daughters, what their daughters expect from them. And it's just so beautiful because it's about the healing of that relationship and showing up for people you love, even if you do it imperfectly. Just the time and the attention and the care is meaningful. It's really like heartwarming and heartbreaking. And it's so moving also to see these men change out of their prison uniforms and into the suits that are given to them by this organization who runs the dance, making them feel a little bit like themselves again, not just another inmate. Again, I talked about this more in depth on my Patreon, and I also recommended 2 other movies that pair with it really, really well. But yeah, this one, Daughters, this documentary is so good, and I do highly recommend. I do. Alright, finally this year, like the movies from this year, I also watched a little movie called The Room. is composed but not rigid. It's just so beautiful, so rich. And it's basically about these two friends who reconnect. One of them is sick, and the other one's in town for like a book tour event or something of hers. Hears that her old friend is sick, and so she stops by the hospital to say hi, and they reconnect from there. In the beginning of this movie, there are some nested stories that might not really reel you in, but if you stick with it, I promise you will like it. I hope. I can't promise that, but I really liked it. They have a very interesting friendship, and it happens that the one, Tilda, asks the other, Julianne, do her a favor, and that's the most interesting part in some ways. Although all the nested stories, like the backstory, gives it context, but there's this strange tension around the favor that you'll see if you watch it, and I just found it very thoughtful, quiet, and real, I want to say. Okay, so those were my favorites from this year. Then, favorite movies from this year, not from this year. From this year, not from this year. You follow. Are one, a little Terrence Malick movie called Badlands. This one is from 1973. It's with Martin Sheen, who is Charlie Sheen's dad. He has another son too, but I'm just gonna say it for the 500th time. I'm really bad with actors. Really bad. And Sissy Spacek. Essentially, they're both young adults, if that. This young man is attracted to this girl he meets in this small town and pursues her and convinces her to run away with him in a car and go on this wild road trip as they run from the cops, essentially. That's all I'll say. I could look at Sissy Spacek's face forever. It has this really special otherworldly beauty to it. Love. But the thing about this movie is that there's this kind of like Bonnie and Clyde aspect to it, which is really interesting. And also, the way the story is structured is fascinating. There are so many little digressions or like divergent moments that flesh out the story. They're just these odd little details, but they make the story feel, it's not even more complex, just more particular, more specific. They're all odd details. Like, she's talking about how when her fish died, this guy was like there for her, whatever, he said whatever when it died, and then it cuts to like her throwing the fish out, and it's this giant catfish because I was seeking out like crime movies and thrillers with queer representation, and Al Pacino's character in this, you could argue, is bi, I think I would say. So it's pretty early representation of bisexuality, especially with a bisexual man, character who's bi and male. And it's great. This guy and these other guys, but really just this guy and his other buddy, decide to rob a bank. And I don't want to ruin any of it for you, but like, it goes downhill fast. Like, it's a mess. It's in the middle of summer. It's in New York City, I want to say. Everyone is sweating, literally and figuratively. They have many hostages in the bank and have to kind of hole up in there as they try to negotiate, and everything is just a mess. It's based on a real bank robbery, in fact. So it just has this ever-rising tension, and you're so curious about where it's gonna go. It's really well acted, of course, and I highly recommend. I really enjoyed it. Okay, the third in this little category of movies I watched this year, not from this year, is Taxi Driver. Taxi Driver. This one's from 1976. I'm sure you've heard of this one. If you've heard of no others, you've heard of this one. Or I think, as normal people would say, if you've only heard of one of these, it would be this one. So, this one is with a baby Robert De Niro, with a little mole on his face. And it is about a man, a taxi driver. He's a veteran, and he's just driving his taxi, and he tries to pursue this woman he sees and is enamored with, who is played by Sybil Shepherd. And not to excuse any of his ill-conceived plans as they unfold throughout the movie, but I really felt for him when he takes her on the second date and it doesn't go well, because he didn't know what was normal. Like, I really felt for him and how embarrassing that must have been. And then he makes a bunch of bad decisions. But, you know, we got the whole Madonna and horror thing going on thematically there. And because of the way the ending plays out, I think it's really well done. Again, I had not seen this movie before, and actually neither had my partner. We watched it together, and the ending, you know, you're just watching it, and then it ended, and the credits were rolling, and I was like, huh, and my partner was like, right, and we were like, was that? And honestly, it was late, and we were tired, so we didn't come to any conclusions right then, but I was like, there was something about that, right? Something about the perspective there, right? We had the same thought. And then in the morning, we talked about it briefly, and we were just both sold. We were like, I don't want to ruin it if you haven't seen it, but, you know, we were sold on how to take the ending, on how to understand the ending, as the viewer to form my own opinion, to pay attention to the story, to pay attention to the art, and to decide what it means based on what I receive from it. So I just found it to be like a really satisfying, thought-provoking watch. It's by Martin Scorsese, and it's just like masterclass, so good. I don't know why I hadn't seen it before. I've been wanting to see it for a while, but you know, sometimes things just don't rise to the top of your need to watch list, so it's taken me this long, I'm embarrassed to say. If you haven't seen it, please watch it, please, please. Okay, and then last movie, not from this year, but watched this year by yours truly, is Midnight Run. This is just kind of a bonus. It's not as good as the others, but it's great. It's so fun. This is also with Robert De Niro and some other guy. I don't remember who. Some other guy that someone who's not me would definitely know. It's a comedy. It's from 1988, and it's about a bounty hunter who has to go find this guy clear across the country. I think he's based in LA, and the guy he's trying to find is in New York. And he has to get him back by a certain time to help this guy he's doing this favor for and collect a good sum of money. And so they're like traveling cross country together, the bounty hunter and the bounty hunter and the guy he caught. And obviously lots of things do not go according to plan. They do not go according to plan. And I just found it very entertaining. It's kind of like a buddy cop movie. I mean, not really, but kind of. Where it's the two of them, not quite seeing eye to eye. One's trying to escape, but the other's trying to hold everything together. Yeah, but there's just like a fun, dry humor to a lot of it. There's a good amount of action as obstacles get thrown into their path. We have the mafia involved, we have the FBI, we have another rogue bounty hunter. It's a mess, and it's really fun. So, those are my favorite movies from this year. My favorite movies, the favorites of what I watched. I would gladly watch any of these again. No questions asked. If you're interested in more rambles about books, about movies, there's a lot of that on my Patreon. There'll be much more of that this coming year on Patreon, so be sure to check that out. And please let me know what you loved most from this year. What's the movie you watched this year that you're just like, you can't shut up about? You're recommending it to everyone. Let me know. Let me know.